Let's get started lying down on our backs. Settle into a neutral spine, soles of the feet on the mat, and walk your shoulder blades nice and flat underneath you, and relax the arms down the sides of the body. Close your eyes. I'm going to center here. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, and just feel the movement of your hands in concert with your breath. Invite your breath into all of the space available in your lungs. Remind yourself right now, right here, that the best thing that you can do in any given moment to elevate your health and your well-being is to breathe well. In through the nose and out through the nose, direct your breath. And recognize your breath as a bridge between your inner space and your outer space. Give yourself permission to turn all of your sensory awareness from your external environment to your internal environment, to your inner space. What's going on the inside? Checking in physically. How does it feel to be you breathing this breath? And checking into your heart space, your emotional reality right now. And then checking in with your headspace, your energy level. Just your baseline right here. Continue to allow your awareness and mindfulness to be cultivated through this attention placed on your breathing. And all of the content of your thoughts becomes less distracting and more peripheral to what you're aware of, which is hopefully the experience of your breath being in your body. And we're going to begin to move with our breath. And when you're ready, just reminding yourself to honor the experience and to trust yourself as the wisest yoga teacher you will ever know, and the only yoga teacher that has access to the feedback from your sensory nervous system while you're practicing or at any time. So trust yourself and trust your experience. Listen to your heart. And each time you find yourself distracted by a thought, let that be a recognition of your own awareness that you noticed yourself attending your thoughts rather than your breath or your practice or your body. And recognize that as a milestone on this path to quiet mind. Go ahead and stretch your arms out wide to a T position, palms open towards the ceiling. On your inhale, circle, sweep your arms up along the floor like you're making a snow angel, but keep your ribs knitted down towards your navel, so don't let the spine move. And then on the exhale, bring the arms back down the same way we tracked up. And again, moving with breath. You're welcome to fire up your ujjayi, your victorious breathing, engaging gently through the base and the back of the throat to regulate the cadence and the rhythm, the rate, until you experience a spray-like quality to the breathing. It's also described as throat breathing. You're going to feel this, a lot of engagement down the throat, creating a soft, audible sound for your inner ears. One more time, circle sweeping arms up overhead. You're welcome to maintain ujjayi throughout the whole practice. This time we're going to curl up on the exhale, reaching your arms up towards your legs, and then on your inhale, circle sweep your arms back up overhead. And just put these two movements together with your breath. We're warming up the deepest layer of the core, transversus abdominis. The next time you curl up into your legs, pause here. We're going to tuck one knee at a time in towards your belly and your face. Catch your ankles or your heels with your hands and curl yourself into a nice tight little ball. Call this Apanasana. Keep the legs tucked in nice and tight. Keep the legs tucked in nice and tight, and continue circle sweeping with the snow angel arms for a few breaths, and then curl back up into the legs. Nice big deep breaths here. Keep moving with breath. Last one. Hopefully you feel that heat that we're generating deep in the inner core. Catch the inside and the outside of your right foot, and then release head and shoulders back down towards the mat. Your hamstrings, and take some nice big deep breaths. Take care not to go too far too fast. Find a moderate edge of intensity of sensation to breathe into here. And see if you can tune into the sensation of release in the lower back on both sides. And we're going to do a few little head rolls left and right. Relax any sense of gripping or holding in your face, neck, or jaw. And when you're ready, release the sole of your left foot to the mat as an option. You stay right where you were, right where we started. We want to feel the intensity of sensation right in the belly of the muscles. When we feel it up here or down here, that tells us that we're in our connective tissue and rather than the muscle. When you're ready, stretch left leg out is another option. You can also hover the leg, let it rest, or curl up into the right leg without pulling with your arms. So it's a core engagement, curling up into the pose. Hand to big toe pose, Supta Asta Padangustasana, in the traditional language of yoga, which is Sanskrit. Tucking the left leg up to meet your right leg, back to Apanasana. Notice the difference between the two sides of the body, especially where your femur is in comparison to left side. And then we're going to switch sides. Switching sides, catch the inside and the outside of your left foot. Hug your left thigh to the belly, tuck that right thigh into, and spend several breaths here. Stay committed to maintaining the quality of your breath over anything else, any other agenda. Be willing to recognize the places in your practice where your will is taking over, and allow the surrender to deepen your practice. Option to lower the sole of the right foot to the mat at this point. A few big breaths. Notice with the right foot down, if you're rolling to the pinky toe edge of the foot, ground into the ball of the big toe to help keep your femur neutral. A nice big deep breath. So go ahead and extend that right leg all the way out nice and long. Breathe into the hamstring stretch. Maybe you take a moment to notice that if we flipped over, you'd be in a lunge. So we're introducing these poses to the body before we try it with weight bearing, which is a kindness and a good preparation. When you're ready, tuck it all back into center when you feel balance between both sides. This time, knees go wide, big toes together, catch and cup the heels with the hands, and then just kind of rock it out a little bit here. Introducing your hips to external rotation. Lower the sole of the left foot to the mat. Flex your right foot evenly on the inside and the outside of the ankle. Gently rest that right ankle on the top front of your left thigh. I'm going to open like a goalpost if that's available and comfortable in your shoulders. Find whatever alternative works for you. And then balance your hips. So notice if there's more weight rolling to that right side, shift a little bit of weight over to the left side. Like you have a steering wheel deep in the root of your right hip. Turn that steering wheel to the right and go a little deeper into your external rotators. And then we're going to gently start to roll over to your left hip and take the gaze over right shoulder. Breathe into the stretch and go where it feels good in your body. And then come back to center and roll to the other side. Keep this figure four in the right and just roll over to that right hip. We're introducing the left hip to just a little internal rotation right here. Be mindful of your left rib flaring towards the ceiling and hug that left rib down while we're here. Now we're going to lift this figure four up and loop the hands around the back of the left thigh. Okay, it's time for the second side. Back to supine butterfly pose, externally rotating both hips, toes together, knees wide. And then from here, lower the sole of the right foot to the mat, flex your left foot evenly on the inside and the outside of the ankle, and then into the figure four on the side. Balancing the hips, find that goal post position. Nice big breaths. This is a great piriformis stretch. That's the muscle when it gets tight. It's the culprit behind a lot of sciatic nerve discomfort. All right. When you feel balanced between both sides, then start to twist over to the right. Keep working the external rotation from the root of the left hip. Okay, so when you feel content and balanced with your time on this side, roll back through midline and over to the left. Introduce the right hip to the internal rotation. And there's some big gentle breaths. And let's take some big gentle breaths here. And when you feel balanced, back to center. And now we'll lift the pose up, loop the hands around the back of that right thigh. A little bit this way, a little bit that way. Find your sweet spot and send some big deep breaths there. And when you are balanced, back to center. Uncross the left leg off of the right leg. And now open the knees wide to butterfly. Take the arms wide to a T position. And from here, let's take the right leg over and cross and stack it on top of your left. Gaze right. Back through center on an inhale and off to the right side on the exhale. Stack left over right. Go all the way up. Your shoulder can lift, but the legs need to be stacked and the knees need to be flush. Okay, let's transition through a side lying position. Use both hands to help yourself up to a seated position. And let's come onto all fours for cat-cow. Stacking the knees under the hips and vertically stacking the shoulders over the wrists. Begin cat-cow. Exhale, curl the spine into cat pose. Extra credit if you come to your hips and stay on the fingertips. You might want to walk your hands one step in towards your body to make that a little bit easier and establish a real center of gravity in your legs. Very little weight in the hands. And then exhale, curl to cat pose, scooping and lifting through the pelvic floor and all the way up through the deepest layers of your core. And then on your inhale, stay on your fingertips and really work your shoulder girdle in cow pose. Spreading the seat, lifting the heart, shoulder blades move down and back. And keep moving with your breath back and forth. On your next exhale, option to lift and curl your left knee up towards your belly as you lift to cat pose, and we'll just alternate back and forth. curls. The next time you bring your right foot through, step it into a lunge. Walk those hands down to frame your front foot. Make sure your ankle's stacked right underneath the knee. And then we're going to curl the left toes under behind us and get into the psoas. So press your left toes firmly down into the mat, and hopefully you're feeling a lot of action right here. Welcome to stay right here. And lift to your fingertips and bring the sternum forward. Keep hugging your thigh bones towards midline while we're scissoring the legs. Option to lift into a little lunge. I'm going to feel the stretch all the way up behind the belly. So a few different options here. Go ahead and gently release. I'm pressing your right foot forward and stretching that left leg back. And from here, little half splits. More hamstring mobility work. And then when you're ready, back to cat-cow. Curling the left knee to the belly and stepping the left foot through into the lunge. Come into the fingertips as an option, nice and light through the torso. Still lifting through pelvic floor and the belly, and committed to the quality of our breath. Just explore your options, or stay where you're comfortably challenged. And gently release. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and take and curl it back and stretch the hips back over your heels to child's pose. While you're resting in child's pose, just remind yourself that you're the only person that can ever give yourself permission to rest here. Listen to your inner teacher and rest when you need to. And always choose that comfortable place that's a perfect balance between effort and ease. It's not meant to be all effort and so hard. There's a beautiful piece in the midpoint, call it midya, sthira sukha asana. The practice should be steady and comfortable. Yoga Sutras 101. When you're ready, we're going to grow into downward facing dog from a cow pose. So let's all meet on all fours. And from here, moving the lower back into a little bit deeper of an anterior tilt. Just going to spread the sitting bones a little bit wider. Tuck the toes under behind you. And then press the hands forward and press into your toes to transition into down dog. And then when you make your way up to down dog, knit your ribs towards your navel, because you'll be in a little bit of a back bend still in your upper back. And we want to keep the lower back where it is, but tuck those low ribs in so you feel a neutral spine. Keep reaching your hands forward like you're stretching your mat forward and back. So pedaling out your heels in downward dog. And there's my downward dog, just walked by. All right, rooting your left foot into the mat. Let's send the right leg high. Big stretch, scissor the legs. You can kick the heel towards the glute, wiggle the toes, roll out the ankle. And go ahead and step that right foot all the way through to a straight leg lunge. Head root down and rise up. Crescent. Hands to heart or reaching up overhead or on the thigh. You choose. From here, we're going to be transitioning into Prasarita, so sweeping your hands down and around to the wide edge of your mat. Pivot your feet parallel to each other on the short edges of your mat. Generous bend in the knees is needed to bring the movement and the folding into the top of the legs and out of your lower back. All right, from Prasarita, and walk both hands over to your left foot and pivot to the back of the mat. Root down and rise up into the lunge. Hands to heart, overhead option. And we're coming back into Prasarita, sweeping back to the wide edge of the mat and folding forward. This time let's add a chest expansion. We're going to intertwine the fingers at the lower back and then work the arms toward extension. Shake out the head, yes and no. Relax the face, neck, and jaw. Engage the legs, hugging all the muscles into the bones. And sweeping around towards the right foot. Pivot into your straight leg lunge. Move the weight into your front right foot, lifting through the pelvic floor. And then stepping your left foot lightly to meet your right foot and fold over your legs with a generous bend in both knees. And draping your torso over the legs comfortably and breathing into all the space in the back of your lungs here. On an inhale, take the hands to the front of the thighs in a chair pose. Work a little cat-cow from chair, curling under, tuck the tail into cat. And then heart forward, elbows are hugging in as we bend them back. And then curl and spread. Curl. Now pause here in this cow version of chair. Feel your legs really working, and then just press down through those strong legs to come up and into a neutral spine. Sweep the arms up overhead. Palms meet, reach the arms up alongside your head and into lateral flexion over to the right. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale, center. Exhale, over to the left. Inhale, center. Chest expansion, clasping the hands. Open the heart. And fold over the legs. Release the hands to a halfway lift, bringing them to the top of your thighs, back to that baby chair. And then fold over your legs and step your left leg back to a straight leg lunge. Move it down and rise up. From here, pivot that left hip open to warrior two. Working the external rotation in the front right hip. Externally rotating from the root of your right shoulder, and then side body stretch, just like the lateral flexion, into reverse warrior. So no flaring the ribs. Tuck those ribs back to the navel and into extended angle. Right forearm to right thigh, left arm up and overhead. Let your hips tilt a bit to adjust for a clear line of energy. And then back down to the lunge, back to downward dog. Roll forward to a high push-up position and hold. Drop to the knees as needed. Back to down dog. Pressing the hands forward, bend the knees. Shifting back. This is a wonderful option in sun salutations. Roll back to a high push-up position. Repeat what we just did, or as an option from the knees or from the toes. Elbows back, chaturanga, 90 degrees, and let it go. Transition to your belly, hands at your lower ribs. We want them back further rather than up by your shoulders. And then engaging through your upper back, hugging legs to midline, lifting through locust first, and then use your hands for a little assistance to open up to a low cobra or towards an upward dog. And then lifting the hips up and back to child's pose and potentially growing to down dog here. 5 nice big breaths. Intuitively refine your alignment without overdoing it and being too nitpicky, yeah? And then stepping that left foot forward and up in the lunge. through 2. Reverse warrior. Spinning that left arm open from the root of the shoulder, and then side body stretch. And cartwheeling to extended angle, left forearm to the left thigh. Right arm comes up and overhead, and we're spinning the underbelly of that right arm towards the face. And then releasing back to the lunge. From here, make your way into a high push-up position to plank pose. Side plank. Lower the right knee to the mat. Roll your left hip open and plant your right hand down. Sliding your left arm up your right arm across the chest and all the way up. You can always kickstand your right foot off the long edge of the mat, which really work and test the balance. This is a wonderful place to stay. Several options here and modifications of side plank. Left foot comes forward, stretching your right leg out underneath you and then resting on the pinky toe edge of the foot. So there's one. From here we can stack. Left leg on top of right leg. From here we can also bring that into a bit of a Vrksasana or a tree pose variation, just on the side. Find a nice variation and then come back to plank, second side. Left knee down, rolling the right hip open, rooting down through your foundation, and then lifting up into Vajrasthana. Vajrasthana side plank. Gaze can lift up towards the ceiling. Now mirror the choices you made on the first side, whether that was staying here or bringing the right foot off that long edge of the mat in front. Pressing down to extend the left leg underneath and resting on the pinky toe edge of the foot. Stacking the legs is an option. Or lifting that right foot to the inside of your left thigh, like tree pose. Back to plank. Lowering to your knees and making it into child's pose or chaturanga, you choose. Little vinyasa, down to the mat, hugging the midline as we lift to a low cobra. Back to down dog. Send the left leg high and roll the hip open, wiggle your toes and roll out the ankle. And stay nice and balanced between your shoulders and then gently release back to the mat. Generous bend through both knees. Lengthen the spine and tuck those low ribs in. And then step to the front of the mat. Halfway lift and fold forward. Halfway lift, root down through chair pose to rise up, Tadasana, mountain. Hands to heart center, several nice big breaths. Inhale, bring both arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, back to your forward fold. Inhale, back to chair pose. And sit into chair. Find neutral spine. Bring your left hand to your sacrum and your right hand in between your knees and legs. You can bring your legs to touch and feet to touch. Make sure your knees stay flush and one knee doesn't pass the other knee, and that's what your hand is there for. So keeping your spine long and a little twist. Really focus on the oblique engagement, working deep in the core. This is a great place to be and to stay. You're welcome to take this all the way down, a little bit lower. Make sure that the knees are not passing the toes and that the knees are staying flush. Place to stay. As an option, staying really rooted through your left foot. You can stretch the right leg out behind you, and we're in a twisted variation of our lunge. And back to chair. Back to center and fold forward. Halfway lift and fold forward. This time halfway lift to chair. Second side. Right hand to the sacrum. Left hand is squeezed between those knees. Make sure that the hips are not moving forward and back. And we're only twisting in the spine. Take the options that feel good to you and mirror what you chose on the first side. There's a clear order of operations and alignment and a progression of complex movements in the poses. Back to chair, back to center, and fold forward. Halfway lift, fold forward. Lift to chair, root down, rise up. Palms meet, heart center. Finding your balance, rooting down through your right leg. Catch your left foot with your left hand. Stretching the right arm out in front of you. Hinging forward from the right hip. And into dancer, Nadarajasana. Pressing the left foot gently into the left hand. And come back to center. And release. Root through the left foot. Catch the right. You're welcome to stay in any of these stages. Keep breathing into the pose. Dancer, second side. When you feel balanced, bring it back. And from here, through a forward fold, into downward facing dog. And down to child's pose. Want both hands off the left diagonal corner of the mat and roll your hips off the right side of your heels. Direct a breath into the right side of your lower back. And then walk back through midline and over to the other side, off the right with the hands, off the left with the hips. Back to center. Root down through the lower legs. Camel pose, little back bend. Hug an imaginary block between your thighs or a real one. Lift through the sternum, open the heart. And coming on back up. And release those hips down. Swing your legs out in front of you. Bend your knees generously and flex your toes up towards the ceiling. And then reach your hands over your legs. And we're going to walk your hips back, maybe 3 or 4 steps. And then fold over your legs. And roll it up, Janu Sirsasana. Bring the left foot to your right inner thigh. Once again, you can bend your right knee as a nice modification. You fold forward over right leg. And rolling it up, stretch your left leg out. Bring the right foot to the inside of your left thigh, bending your right knee, fold the right foot up to the inside of your left thigh, and then bend the left knee as you're hinging way at the top of your leg in your hip to come into the forward fold. All right, when you're balanced, go ahead and roll it on up and transfer to your back. Bring your knees into your belly. Rock it out in Apanasana. Rock it out in Apanasana. Go ahead and slowly lower the soles of the feet down to the mat. Plant the hands, roll up to bridge pose. Hugging the floor with your arms, really opening up through the chest. You're welcome to intertwine the fingers underneath you and go a little deeper into the back bend. Once again, imagine you're hugging a block between your thighs so the knees aren't splaying out. Go ahead and lower it down when you're ready. And take the feet wide and just windshield wiper your legs side to side. Settle the feet. Relax the arms into a comfortable position. And then send the right leg up. Stretch it straight and then bend the back of the knee until it sits comfortably in the hip. Lift the left leg up. Stretch it straight and then bend the knee until it sits comfortably in the hip. Close your eyes and keep your legs here. Just settling into a restful, inverted position. If you're near a wall, you can slide up to a wall and rest your legs on the wall. Viparita Karini. Legs of the wall pose. Relax the face. You can even give yourself a nice little facial massage here with your peace fingers. And bringing them to your third eye space between your eyebrows and just massage in little circles here. And then draw lines along your brow line towards your temples on either side of the face and massage circles there. Now come along the sides of your face to your jaw and massage circles into the root of the jaw. Come out to the earlobes and just grab the earlobes and massage circles right there. And then come down the jawline to your chin and then flick your fingertips off the sides of your mat and rest the hands. Feet come down. You can let the knees rest on each other, and this might be a really comfortable position for Shavasana for you, or you can stretch your legs out long and allow your hips to just kind of soften and roll open into a natural turnout. Close your eyes and give yourself permission to rest here for as long as you need today. As you soften your body and give yourself permission to rest, I'd like to share with you some beautiful words from Kabir about the value of attending your inner space. Don't go outside your house to see the flowers, my friends. Don't bother with that excursion. Within your body, there are flowers. One flower has 1,000 petals, and that will do for a place to sit. Sitting there, you will have a glimpse of beauty inside the body and outside the body, before gardens and after gardens. Namaste. It's with deep grace and gratitude and I thank you for this practice. Please share the merits of this practice with everyone else that you share your presence with. May all of you and myself and all beings everywhere be free from fear, and may all of our hearts be full of love. Namaste.